You and your wife share a house. You coordinate schedules. You split responsibilities. You're polite to each other. You get along fine. But somewhere along the way, you stopped feeling like partners and started feeling like roommates who happen to be raising kids together. The conversations are all logistics. Who's picking up the kids? What's for dinner? When the bills are due? You're running a household efficiently, but you're not really connecting. And maybe you've noticed it for a while, but you don't know how to fix it. Or maybe you're worried that if you bring it up, she'll think you're complaining about the marriage. Let me show you what's happening and how to reconnect before this becomes your new normal. Here's the thing about roommate mode. It doesn't happen because of one big event. It's a slow fade. Life gets busy. Kids need things. Work is demanding. And connection takes effort. So when you're exhausted, it's easier to just handle the logistics and zone out. One day without real connection becomes 1 week. 1 week becomes 1 month. And before you know it, you've been operating as business partners instead of romantic partners for so long that you don't remember how to be anything else. The dangerous part? Roommate mode is comfortable enough that you can stay there indefinitely. There's no crisis forcing you to address it. No big fight. Just a quiet drift that becomes permanent if you don't do something about it. So how do you reconnect? First, understand that your wife probably feels this too. She might not have said anything either because she doesn't want to start a fight, or she doesn't know how to bring it up. But the distance? She's feeling it. The reconnection starts with something simple. Turn toward her instead of away from her. Let me explain what that means. Every day your wife makes small attempts to connect. She mentions something about her day. She makes a comment about something on TV. She asks you a question. Those are invitations, little moments where she's reaching out for connection. In roommate mode, you're turning away from those invitations. You give one-word answers. You stay focused on your phone. You acknowledge what she said, but you don't actually engage. You're not being mean. You're just not there. And every time you turn away, the distance gets a little bigger. So the first move is simple. Start turning toward those invitations. When she tells you something about her day, put down your phone and actually engage. Ask a follow-up question. Show interest. When she makes a comment about something, respond with more than "uh-huh." Actually talk to her. These seem like tiny things. They are tiny things. But tiny things add up. They're how you rebuild intimacy when it's been eroding for months or years. Here's another piece. Create connection rituals. These are non-negotiable times where you focus on each other, not just logistics. Maybe it's a 5-minute check-in every morning, where you actually talk about how you're both doing. Not what needs to happen today, how you're feeling. Maybe it's a weekly coffee date where phones stay off and you actually have a conversation that isn't about the kids or the house. Maybe it's a bedtime conversation that's not about tomorrow's schedule. Whatever it is, make it consistent. Once a week, same time, same commitment. Don't skip it because you're tired. That's how you got here in the first place. Treat these rituals like any other important appointment. You wouldn't skip a work meeting because you're tired. Don't skip connection time with your wife. Now here's something most men miss. Bring back curiosity. When's the last time you asked your wife a real question? Not, "Did you pick up my dry cleaning?" But something like, "What's been on your mind lately?" Or, "What are you excited about right now?" Roommate conversations are transactional. You need to know something, you ask. You get the answer, you move on. Partner conversations are curious. You're interested in who she is, what she's thinking, how she's doing. Start asking questions that show you're interested in her as a person, not just as someone who helps manage the household. Here's another thing that disappears in roommate mode. Physical connection that's not sexual. You're not holding hands, you're not hugging, you're not sitting close on the couch. Physical touch matters. Not because it leads to sex, but because it releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. When you stop touching each other, you lose that chemical connection. So start small. Hold her hand while you're watching TV. Hug her when you get home, not just a quick peck, an actual hug. Kiss her goodbye in the morning like you mean it, not just out of habit. These small physical connections remind both of you that you're partners, not just people who share space. One more thing that matters: appreciation. Roommates don't express gratitude. Everything is just expected duty. You did the dishes. Great. That's your job. Partners notice and appreciate each other. Start telling your wife specific things you appreciate about her. Not generic thanks for dinner, but I noticed you went out of your way to make that meal even though you were exhausted. That meant a lot to me. Specific appreciation reconnects you because it shows you're paying attention to her efforts, not just taking them for granted. Now let's talk about what not to do when you're trying to reconnect. Don't wait for her to initiate. Don't assume things will get better on their own. Don't think, we're fine, we're just busy right now. Roommate mode is comfortable enough to become permanent if you don't actively work against it. Don't make grand gestures while ignoring the daily small moments. One expensive date night doesn't fix months of not connecting. You need consistent small actions, not occasional big ones. And don't get defensive if she seems hesitant at first. If you've been in roommate mode for a while and you suddenly start engaging more, she might be suspicious or unsure. That's normal. Keep showing up. Consistency is what rebuilds trust that you're genuinely changing. Here's what reconnection looks like in practice. Tonight, when you get home, find your wife. Don't immediately check your phone or turn on the TV. Give her a real hug. Ask her, "How was your day really?" and actually listen to the answer. This weekend, set aside 30 minutes where it's just the two of you. No kids, no phones, no agenda. Go for a walk. Sit on the porch. Have coffee together. Talk about something other than schedules and responsibilities. Ask her what she's been thinking about. Share what's on your mind. Be curious about each other again. Here's the truth about roommate mode. It happens because connection got deprioritized. Life got busy, you got tired, and it was easier to just handle logistics than to do the work of staying emotionally connected. But that drift doesn't have to be permanent. You can reconnect. It just requires you to make connection a priority again. Every day, turn toward her when she reaches out instead of staying focused on your phone. Every week, protect time that's just for the two of you. Ask her real questions. Touch her in non-sexual ways that remind you both your partners. Tell her specific things you appreciate. None of this is complicated. It's just intentional. And that intention, that choice to reconnect instead of accepting the drift, that's what transforms roommates back into partners. If your marriage feels more like a business partnership than a romantic partnership, that's fixable. But it requires you to act now before comfortable distance becomes permanent separation. Start with one thing today. Turn toward her next invitation to connect. Schedule your first connection ritual this week. Ask her one curious question tonight. Small actions create momentum, and momentum creates reconnection. Comment below. Does your marriage feel like roommates sometimes? What's one thing you're going to try to reconnect? If you want more tools for reconnecting, grab the ebook. Links in the first comment or my bio.